Hey everybody, welcome back to Trilogy Live. Scott here, Season 2, Episode 5. So I'm excited to be back. So this is going to be our normal Thursday night, 7 p.m. Granted, with everything else going on, even next week I have a special episode, which I'll talk about later. We did a special episode last night with Erica Stitchcomb. If you didn't get a chance to see that, make sure you go over to the YouTube page and check out that footage. It's all archived into there. And then while you're at it, so you don't miss future episodes, make sure you share, like, subscribe. Everybody who's out there doing YouTube coverage, really that kind of stuff really goes a long way in helping the promotion and the branding and just for the behind the scenes stuff that goes along with going with YouTube. But today we have a special guest, and I would like to introduce Tristan Tanner to the show. How you doing, Tristan?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So welcome. Looks like a couple of people up on the board already. Got Rising Am disc golfer, Xander, Tommy Howell. So we got a few in the house already. So let's kind of start with the most obvious things that are going on right now. What are you doing with your life right now since you're not out on the tour?
Yeah, so I'm just at home at my parents' house in Colorado, and I'm just basically just hanging out, doing field work when I can. I'm really focusing on the social media side of things. I'm really putting out a whole lot of YouTube videos and trying to focus on that during this time.
Okay, are you getting any practice in? Besides, I mean, the videos are kind of practice, but are you doing any routine as far as practice routine and
Yeah,
any kind of practice?
I don't really have a set practice routine, but yeah, I'm practicing a lot, practicing every day, playing a lot of scoring rounds, and then also doing a whole lot of field work and working on a couple shots that I'm trying to learn. This is really good, actually, for some of us players. If we can look at it the right way, it's like a second off season that we can add new shots to our game or just use it as another time to improve our game.
Yeah, I think I've seen the hashtag going around offseason 2.0. Hey, before we get any further, can you make sure your volume is up all the way on your device?
Yep. Is that better?
Yep. So,
Okay.
yeah, you were just a little faint in the background, so
Okay.
I figure if you're faint for me, you're probably faint for everybody else since you got to go through another mic. Yeah, offseason 2.0, I've seen a lot of people out there doing different things. Have you seen or participated in the pandemic challenge putting? I'm sure
I haven't.
global
I have.
putting challenge, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it, but I haven't got to actually participate yet. But I am planning on doing that.
Excellent. Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have kind of come through trying to get some of the touring pros on there, even though I'm sure there's many people out there who don't want to necessarily compete against the touring pros, but it is a lot of fun. I did it last week. I made one.
Nice.
Guess it's better than zero.
Yeah. It's
So
true.
it was on a marksman, and I just came just an inch short. I think I'm going to do mine next week, tomorrow, hopefully. So,
Nice.
yeah, so kind of one of the things I like to start with just about any interview that I do is you're new to the scene. A lot of people are just kind of getting to know you through your YouTube channel. You were on Jomez during the Las Vegas. Was it Jomez for the Las Vegas
Uh,
Challenge?
it was Central Coast.
Oh, Central Coast for the Las Vegas Challenge. So definitely you're starting to build a name. So let's kind of start back from the beginning. And how did you get started with disc golf? I mean, what kind of got you introduced into disc golf?
Yeah. So I played basketball all through like my whole life, all through high school, and then my senior year in high school, I guess my junior and senior year in high school, I just had got hurt multiple times, and I was just kind of done with it. And there's this course right by my house. I wanted something non-contact from basketball. I wanted to be able to be outside, and I just decided to go try it out at my local home course, and I was just absolutely hooked from the first throw, really.
Okay. Was there anybody local to you that kind of helped push you? I mean, what made you decide from going from playing that course? Well, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 21. Just turned 21.
And how long have you been playing?
3 years.
So you started playing straight out of high school virtually. So somewhere in that 3 years, I mean, was there a push, something that kind of made you say, you know what, this is the life that I'm going to try, and I want to go on the road? And
yeah, so I mean, I've been a high level athlete for a long time, and I just kind of put that same work ethic and time into disc golf, and it just kind of presented itself into me being able to go on the road. I mean, I played a short time in advanced. That's the first division that I played, and I decided to move up to open, and moving up to open really pushed my game and helped me improve in a whole lot of ways. I went from just kind of a middle of the pack advanced level player to cashing in every single open tournament I played pretty much. And it was going on the road and making it my job really was just an extension of that, being able to just push my game to a whole nother level, play with even better players. And it's just a decision I made, and I'm glad I did.
Okay, and you're from Colorado, right?
Yep.
Where at in Colorado?
Longmont, so just north of Boulder, right by Eagle and Colton Montgomery. So.
Okay. Do you know, or have you got the chance to play? So I only know a few older school players that I play that used to come up to Kansas a little bit. Evan Brummett, Chauncey Donaldson, or did I say Chauncey? I think it's Donaldson. You know any of those kind of old school players? Scott Stokely.
I've heard of Scott Stokely. I haven't met him.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Oh, Mike Randolph. Mike Randolph's a Colorado. So those are some of the older, like 90s, even prior to that kind of dominated the scene a lot. Come over here to Kansas side and would play. But yeah, a lot of Colorado roots. So one of the questions I asked Erica yesterday that I think I'm going to like to ask of a lot of the guests that I get going forward is I want to learn more about the different states. So for those who aren't familiar with Colorado disc golf as an average, kind of tell our audience, what is Colorado disc golf like? I mean, is it mountainous? Is it fairly open? I'm sure there's a little bit of mix since the mountains run right through the middle of the state, or wooded. So what is the golf like, and how would you compare it to a course that you play on tour?
Yeah, so we have a pretty good mix, actually, because the whole, Fort Collins, Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, that whole stretch is all just right in the foothills pretty much. And so we have a whole big mix of more park courses, because there's a lot of park courses and a lot of good park courses in that area. But then we also have the mountains right there. So we have a lot of really mountainous, up and down, a lot of elevation change, wooded courses. So we really get a big mix of everything. And then also, if you go out into the plains of Colorado, you get some more open, like Kansas type golf, I guess. And yeah, so we have a really good mix of all of it. And I think it's a really different than anywhere else. I don't think anywhere else really has such a wide variety of courses like we do. And to answer your question about if it's like anything we play on tour, is really, we don't really have anything that is like what we play on tour. And I think it would be good in the future for us to be able to have a tour event at a mountain course, because it would add another dimension, like we play in the wind and we play in the really tight woods. And I think adding that high elevation and a ton of elevation change in the mountains would be something really cool to add to the tour.
Okay, yeah. I mean, always seems like it's changing. I know Colorado in the past has had a lot of big tournaments. I mean, the Colorado State Championships, the Kiss the Sky tournament over in Aspen. I mean, those are two that pop up on top of my head. I'm sure there's others as well, and I'm sure people can comment, let you know, or I'm sure you have your favorites. So, yeah, it's just a matter of time before it grows, or the tour itself grows. And so, but if someone had called you and said, Tristan, I'm coming to Colorado and I need to play one course, which course are you recommending in Colorado?
I'd say Beaver Ranch.
Okay.
It's up in Conifer, Colorado, just not too far, probably just a 45-minute drive from Denver. And I think it's been ranked in the top 5 before, and I think it's pretty like in the world, and it's pretty close to that still, I think. But it's just the perfect Colorado course. It gives you the crazy mountains. It's a big championship level course up in the mountains, and that's the one that I would suggest to people for sure.
Okay. Is that that's an 18-hole private course, or?
Yeah, so it's a pay to play. I think it's like $5 to play. There's a 9-hole like putting course or something. Maybe it's 18 holes. No, it is 18 holes. It's like an 18-hole putting course, and then I think the actual course is 21 holes or 24 holes, something like that. But yeah, it's just an amazing property made for disc golf, and it's just, yeah, it's a destination course for sure.
Okay. Have you had the chance to play, I can't remember the name of the course off the top of my head, but over in Delaware, the really wooded course?
Iron Hill?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Is
Yes.
it the one that we play for the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge?
It's the national tour event they do in Delaware. So,
yeah.
Xander, who's online, who's kind of describing what you described as Colorado, a lot like Pennsylvania, with a little bit less elevation. I don't know, Pennsylvania, Delaware is the closest that I could grab that I know that's on tour. I mean, is there any comparison between that course and kind of what you were describing?
Yeah, so, I mean, kind of, but it's those courses in that New England, like Delaware, Pennsylvania area is all more wooded, more tight woods, and a lot less elevation. I mean, in Colorado, we'll have a 200-foot hole that you have to throw a full power distance driver on because it's so uphill. And I think that that's something you don't really get anywhere else.
No, and so one of the questions I was going to ask, and actually, so Chris on the board is making the comment saying that it'd be pretty interesting to see the top pros needing to adjust their game for the elevation. That'd be pretty awesome to watch. And one of the questions I was going to ask is, yeah, I think that would be neat to see, to answer, kind of go off Chris's question, that adjustment. I mean, already you see, as you guys travel, you have to adjust from cold, heat, rain, wind, Arizona, Vegas weather, then you go over to Texas, to eventually when you're going all the way up to Oregon. I mean, it's such a different golf, but you're changing more for conditions than I think elevations are conditions, but I feel like that changes your bag. Like, I mean, you hear a lot of people when they play Colorado, they're throwing lighter weight are even more overstable than they would be at, say, here in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, most of the tour, we have to adjust more to climate than elevation. And so as soon as you start doing elevation, like, I mean, I pretty much keep the same molds in my bag, but I have to switch up plastics and put more beat up discs in my bag because discs fly way more overstable up here. They have way less glide. So a disc like, say, the Maverick up here is a really, really good, like throw it flat, it'll go straight, and it'll finish almost every time. It's just a great, consistent, slightly overstable driver. But at low elevation, for most people, it's more of an understable disc. So I think, yeah, it would be great for, like, on tour or something to have players adjust to that as well.
So when you decided to go on tour, growing up and playing for those few years in Colorado, did you have to adjust really quick? I mean, did your bag pretty much change going on tour compared to what you started with when you left for the road?
Yeah, I mean, I had played before at low elevation, so I knew what it was like, what discs I needed, what stuff put in my bag, and I, for the most part, threw pretty much overstable discs anyway, so I didn't really need to switch up a whole lot, but maybe just take out the couple more understable discs and then toss in maybe one or two more overstable discs when I went down.
Okay, so all right, so that's in Colorado, and so this year you were on tour. Last year, did you do full-time tour last year as well?
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Yep.
your first year actually being on tour.
Yep.
Okay. So you're on tour last year. I know you really don't have, I was going to say compare last year to this year, but I suppose, I mean, you do have a little bit of change. I mean, even what I've looked at for your 2018 year compared to your first two events, at least tour events of 2019. I mean, in Las Vegas, you were on lead card with Central Coast. I know Memorial wasn't exactly what you wanted, but you had some highlights, and I had the opportunity to follow you a little bit and see a lot of your golf at the Memorial. So I guess even as accurately as you can, I mean, kind of compare what you saw going into 2019 versus what you learned in 2018.
Yeah, so I think you mean 2019 compared to 2020.
You are right.
Yeah, but yeah, so 2019, so the day before Vegas in 2019, I actually hurt my knee, and that was an injury that I was kind of battling for the whole year, and I wasn't really at 100% physically at all during the whole year. But I think I learned a lot in 2019, and then I had a great off season. I was finally able to work on my body, get in the gym, do things I needed that way, and then also work on my game a lot. And just coming out in 2020, I had played 3 events before Vegas, and Vegas is just a course that I've always thought I could play well at, with having a lot of distance, both forehand and backhand. And I think it was just going out and executing and having a good mindset into the event. And yeah, I think I was expecting to have this season in 2019, but the injury prohibited that. And but I ended up learning a whole lot, mental game wise, and how to handle myself on the course. And I think 2020 is already has already been a fantastic year, and I'm just excited for it to keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm looking at your results. You had 7 events going into the year. Looks like you kind of hung out there a little bit in Arizona before the tour started. The wintertime, got 5th at Shelley Sharp. I mean,
yep.
So that was against a solid field.
Yeah.
So, you were.
Really,
what's that?
Yeah, that was a really stacked field for being just an A tier, just random A tier at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Austin Hannum, you had Drew Gibson. I just clicked off the screen. Anton Roethlisberger. I mean, it's definitely some good people. And you were the lowest rated by nearly 30 points. So now you're creeping up on that 1,000 mark, 996. Be kind of curious to see with this hiatus what that does with ratings, because now everybody's going to have a lull in the ratings if they're going to make an adjustment. I didn't even think about that till just now.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody's going to have, depending on how long this goes, but a minimum of what? So Waco was in March. Yeah, I guess right now they're saying April 30th, but that's a minimum of 6 weeks without a tournament on your... I'll be curious to see how that works. So, all right. So when you're out on the road, one of the questions I guess like to ask a lot of pros, just because I find it so different, is, especially, and you've experienced that full year of touring now, so what is your routine as far as when you're going from one event to the next to prepare, to practice the course, to make sure you're physically and mentally ready? Kind of what is that process for you to leave one tournament to jump into the next, whether it's a week apart or 2 weeks apart? I'm sure the time difference makes a difference, but
yeah. So I think in terms of when I try to get to events, I try to at least get there at the latest 3 days in advance, so I can have 3 practice rounds and give me at least a little bit of time to get used to the climate and let my body get ready for the change. But in terms of driving and that stuff, as soon as a tournament's over, I'm pretty much going to be heading to the next one, unless we have a break weekend. That might change some things depending on where I want to hang out during that break weekend. But I pretty much just try to make my way there. I try to not drive too much. My max is 8 hours in a day normally. which isn't too bad. I'll get out 4 times every 2 hours, do a little some hip movement workout, maybe do some juggling, and hang out outside my van for a little bit. And then I'll do that 3 or 4 times in an 8-hour drive, and then get out and do a workout right when I get there to just help my body not feel the I guess driving's really hard on your body, on your hips and knees, and really your whole system. So trying to get out and do something active right when I get out is the biggest part of my routine to help me stay good weekend to weekend.
Okay. Well, you're pretty young. Are you still in that phase that you need to hit new courses on the way in between events?
I mean, I do, but I'll play it just to maybe get out of the car, or if I can't play before I leave for a drive, or after I already get somewhere for a drive, then I'll stop and play somewhere in between. But I'm not super big on all the destination courses or anything. Obviously, if there's like a super like a highly rated or highly talked about course on the way, then I'll obviously stop and play that. But I probably won't go too out of the way to play anything like that.
Well, maybe when the season picks up, now that you're doing a lot more YouTube and media stuff, that might be something to kind of put into your thought there. At least it's kind of what I do, is I try to go to new places, mostly so I have a different background. Even if the content's the same, it's for a different background. So when you're going to these tournaments, so yesterday when I did with Erica, I kind of told her, I've done the tour for a few years, but I've never really traveled like you do on the road from one event to the other. I fly and I'm going there for work, whether it's Latitude, DD, media. Sometimes I'm just there to play, but I've pretty much have done it over the last few years. And I watched some of the social media of, like your Paige Pierces and stuff like that, who do extracurricular things outside of disc golf while they're traveling. And the closest thing I have to a tour is Vegas, Arizona, which I've done for many years, and I'm usually gone like 16 to 18 days, and I'm exhausted. And that's just still being at the course, practicing or getting ready, acclimated. I've been to Arizona Memorial every year since 2009, and I love to hike or mountain bike, and I've never done it. So, I mean, have you been able to find that time to enjoy the world in between that has nothing to do with disc golf?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that's almost more important than the disc golf side of it. I think a lot of people can do too much disc golf, which is possible, and practice too much. And I think you have to have that balance of that mind and body balance. I think you need to do stuff for your mind and stuff to help you almost forget a little bit about the disc golf. So I do all sorts of hiking and many other extracurricular things, and so I don't really get tired of disc golf or the stuff that I do outside of it. I feel like I keep a pretty good balance of everything. Okay.
Well, I'm reading so I'm going to go over to the board for a minute, and I'm reading here, and just a question and a comment or two here is I have Joshua Esterling, and he's wanting to know if you learned forehand or backhand first when you first started playing.
Yeah, so when I first started playing, I was forehand dominant to start, but I really quickly wanted to learn a backhand and learned a backhand. And then as soon as I learned the backhand, I kind of stopped throwing the forehand. But I started off forehand dominant.
Okay. And actually, I'm going to kind of pick up off of that on the forehand. Something I just kind of clicked is a lot of pros, they'll throw the forehand, and they're throwing Firebirds or big rim discs. And if they're throwing a mid-range sidearm, they're throwing something overstable like a Zone or a Gator or Harp. You're throwing a Gatekeeper a lot of times on a sidearm, which is a fairly straight disc. I often compare it to like a beat-in Verdict.
Yep.
And it works for you. I mean, so was there anything that happened, or what made you start learning that shot? Just because it's not a traditional shot, I think, that a lot of pros throw by throwing a flick with a straight mid tends to be understable, but for you, it's not.
Yeah, so honestly, I just take a lot of pride and I have a lot of fun throwing and learning all the different shot types with every single disc. So I mean, like I can play a whole round just throwing a forehand, and I can shape all the lines. I can throw turnover forehands with flippy stuff, and I can throw flexes and hyzers and everything. And it's just something I kind of learned just from, honestly, just from having fun and goofing around. It wasn't necessarily something that I was like, I want to learn this, and I'm gonna do this to better my game. It was more just, oh, that seems fun to try, and then experimenting with it until it worked, and then perfecting that. And yeah, it's a skill that I don't think a whole lot of people have, but I think it really benefits me, especially when we get to more of the woods courses.
What is your favorite variation of Gatekeeper?
So I throw the Proto VIPs and the Special Editions currently. The VIP is just my straight workhorse one that I can throw on all sorts of different lines. And then I have a beat-up Special Edition that I can throw on hyzer flips and get more like turnover shots with it.
Have you tried the hybrid Gatekeeper?
I have not yet.
So my plug, if you haven't seen the one mold challenge that I did for the Gatekeeper, I did that. And actually, the Gatekeeper I was indifferent about, so I hadn't really made my bag. All I had used was actually the SC and the Proto that we got from the team, and I really liked the hybrid, just because I felt like it was just consistently straighter and a little bit more overstable. But have you seen these ones yet? The Chameleon Glimmer?
Are those the Opto X ones?
Yes.
Or the VIPX?
Yes.
I have seen them, but I have not got my hands on any. Those are sweet.
I just got them, and I don't know how we can see in the camera, and I'm showing the audience a little more than you probably, but it's got really got that glimmer shine to it. But yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, it's probably more overstable too.
Yeah, and I haven't got a chance to throw it yet. I kind of thought I might take it out tomorrow and check it out a little bit. But I was actually, when I saw it, I was thinking a little bit more of you with the sidearm. I'm traditionally more of a softer disc, and I haven't really cared for the X plastics as much because they're traditionally stiffer. But if I was throwing this on a sidearm, that stiffness I feel like really helps with help with my control and grip. Where a lot of times when I throw other disc mid-ranges sidearm, because they're softer, it's easier for me to kind of churn a little bit more. That stiffer helps. So anyways, I thought of you when I got it just from that feel. So yeah, you have to reach out to those Latitude guys and get one, and let me know what you think from there.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm gonna go. So back to the board here to see where everybody's at. Tommy Howe loved your blindfold doubles, which I got a kick out of that video a lot too, and Alan just posted, and I don't have my glasses on, people, so I got to really look close at the screen. He's wanting to thank you for suggesting the random generator disc doubles. It was a blast, so he enjoyed that. I know a lot of people are enjoying your YouTube, which I'll get to here in a little bit. I want to stay on track of my list. So, all right, so going kind of back to, kind of done with the tour life ultimately, but when you're, again, and I kind of talked about with Erica, but when you're traveling from these events, you have a pretty nice van. I mean, you're living the hashtag van life. I mean, like a lot of the touring players. What kind of van do you have?
Yeah, so I have a 2018 Ford Transit.
Okay, and did you get that did you start with that when you went on the road in 2019?
Yeah, so I had that, to go on the road in 2019.
Okay, and did you build that out yourself?
Yep. I did all of it myself, and then I actually have a friend who's a solar engineer who helped me put the solar on the roof.
Do you have a video giving a van tour?
Not yet. No, I am gonna probably do that in the off season, but I'm kind of gonna figure out how I'm gonna do it because myself feel comfortable. I don't want to have everyone know exactly where everything is in my home, but yeah,
I get that. And I was telling Erica yesterday, I'm very much a hashtag van life. I spend a lot of time on YouTube learning and reading. And I mean, right after I got back from the Memorial, I was this close to purchasing a Econoline van. And actually, not to sound creepy, but when I was leaving the Memorial, you were parked next to me, and I even took pictures of your van from the outside. Good. I've seen the inside. but I love the style. I love the size that you had. Yours is a high top, so you can still stand in it. And I know you've let me see on the inside before, so I really enjoyed it. And I always think it's such an interesting concept. I mean, I love Airbnbs. Hotels, I'm kind of getting further from wanting to stay in hotels. I just don't feel like they're as clean. And even when you were talking about coming to Kansas City, when you were potentially going to stay here with me for the night, I offered for you to stay at the house, and you were like, no, I'll stay in the van. And I kind of laughed, thinking like, you're probably more comfortable in that van. Mm-hmm. So my question, I guess, as going forward is, as you're traveling, do you stay at people's houses, or maybe you're parking in their driveways, but is it you just rather stay in the van?
Yeah, so I pretty much rather stay in the van. It's my home. It's my bed's in there. And it's funny, I'm at my parents' house now, and it gets down to 30 degrees at night, and I'm still staying in my van. So, it's really, unless I have to stay in someone's house, like in San Diego, I had to stay with some people because they have some laws there. It's actually illegal to sleep in your car in a lot of places in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So I stayed with some friends there, and I didn't sleep great, and it just felt really weird because I'm like, a bedroom in most houses is like 5 times larger than the whole house.
Right.
So it's just what I'm comfortable with, and I've gotten used to that size of space.
Your 20 square feet apartment?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you go home and you stay with your parents, because I assume, do you have an apartment, or do you just stay with your parents when you're back home?
Yeah, I just stay with my parents when I'm back home.
And are you staying in the house, or are you staying in the van?
No, so I'm still staying in the van.
Okay. So and I assume at your parents' house you probably have a bedroom.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, it's just such an interesting concept. I really love the idea of that van life. And my hardest part is I've watched so many videos now that I've almost confused myself of how do I want to build it. Because I'll see one bed, like I've seen a lift bed, and then I see beds that go, convert from couches to beds. And it's like, which one do I like better? I like them both. How can I convert that? Or make a hybrid of the two? And, just all the little things that you can do. So anyways, I'm envious of a lot of the touring players who have that. And it's definitely kind of one of the dream things that ultimately I want to get. I'm noticing on the board, I got a couple people here who are talking about your bite video. One gentleman, I have no idea what his name is. I apologize, person who's posting, but he purchased 2 Optobites just because of you. So
nice.
There you go. You need to tell Latitude. You need kind of an affiliate program or some kind of royalties from those bites. I know I brought you a couple bites down to Vegas.
Yep.
So, and you did that bite video. Xander, who's really liked that one as well. He changed his mind about that mold. Chris Fabian's on the board asking, when you get a signature disc, you have any idea what it'll be?
I don't. That's a tough one. It would probably be like a Ballista Pro or Pioneer, something like that. But I haven't put a whole lot of thought into that.
Okay. Well, Xander, and this is a question I'm going to answer, but Xander, he's asking about the Moonshine Vandal X. Xander, you should check out my Instagram, Trilogy Talk Instagram page from today. You might like the picture that I posted if you like the Moonshine Vandal X. So, and that would actually be my signature disc. A lot of the people are learning me. I love the Vandal. It's just such a dead straight. For my power, for you it would probably be flippy, but for my power, it's as straight as anything. Have you tried throwing the Vandal?
Yeah, I had it in the bag a little bit on and off last year for rollers, actually, and for some little flippy wood shots, but now I have the Vision instead, actually.
Well, someone is giving you a thumbs up saying you should get the VIP X Harp.
Okay. Yeah, I do like the Harp as well.
I think it'd be hard to get, but it'd be a good seller.
Definitely.
From a financial perspective, it would be probably the disc to choose.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. So, what do you kind of going all the way back to the beginning? You were talking about sports a little bit, but if you're not disc golfing, and I know you're getting into the media a little bit, what do you do for fun that's not disc golf related?
Yeah, so I love to hike, like really, really love to hike. So I spend a lot of time doing that when I'm not playing disc golf. I also, I mean, when I'm home, I just hang out with my family a lot. But I mean, most of my time is, yeah, either disc golfing, doing media, or hiking, or just hanging out any way I can be outside. Really is just what I love to do.
Yeah, that's actually very similar with me. I love mountain biking, probably more than hiking. I love to mountain bike. I haven't done it too much in a few years. Well, in 10 years that I've lived in Kansas, Wisconsin, I did a little bit more. Kansas is a little bit more flat, so it's more
Yeah.
just biking, and it feels weird for me to be on the street. I mean, there are some trails in the parks, but it's weird to be on a mountain bike on the street, and I've never wanted to buy a street bike. So
Yeah, definitely.
all right, let's talk a little bit then about YouTube, because I think, I mean, outside of your play, I mean, you're building a fan base. I mean, you can kind of get into this a little bit more, but I mean, you're growing pretty rapidly. I mean, what do your numbers look like on YouTube as far as like your subscriptions? I mean, how quick is that growing for you?
Yeah, so I think I'm right. I think I might have just hit 3,600 subscribers, but I mean, it's been crazy. I started off the year before Vegas. I only had like 270 subscribers, and then in a week after Vegas, I had went up to 1,500, which was absolutely crazy. And then I started posting a lot of content again after Waco, because you know, the Vegas Memorial Waco stretch can be pretty hectic and cramped with all the driving we're doing in between there. So I didn't really do any videos then. And then since then, in the past week and a half, I guess, about a week and a half, week and 3 days, I've gained 1,600 subscribers. So when I was driving home from Emporia last Tuesday, I had posted something that I hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then the next week after I hit 3,000, and then now I'm at 3,600. It's just pretty crazy. I think with everything that's going on in the world right now, there's so many people who can't enjoy disc golf like they normally would, or can't enjoy a lot of things that they normally would. And I think a lot of people are going to YouTube or social media to try to get some of that back. And I'm just happy that I can maybe give a little extra happiness, or just something for people to watch during this time that's really hard for a lot of people. And it's just something that I love to do, and I'm glad I'm able to do it.
Are you an analytics junkie? Are you looking at it every day, multiple times a day?
Yeah. I mean, on and off here and there. I like to monitor my comments, make sure I'm at least liking or commenting back to all of those. And yeah, I think most people who are on YouTube are at least paying attention to their views and likes and all that stuff a little bit. But it could be a ton, or it could be not very many. I don't really let it affect my mood or anything very much.
Yep, I've always really liked YouTube, and I think I'm more of a numbers person. So I watch the analytics of my page, and my page is considerably smaller. I mean, I'm still just kind of building it and things like that, but I still like to watch it. And I love to kind of compare to what other people are doing. It doesn't really change anything for me of what I'm doing, but I enjoy it. Of course, you know, like where you're at now, I mean, you're kind of getting to the point where if you haven't already, you can start monetizing it. You know, so there's some values there. On Tuesday night, did you watch the Smashbox episode with Simon?
No, I didn't.
You ought to check it out. So Simon gets into really detail on his YouTube channel, but I mean, analytics, kind of his thinking process. And Simon's kind of in the same boat, but even probably 5-10 steps higher with the growth that he's had with some of those videos. I mean, heck, he creates a 10-step video or putting challenge that's for an hour, and that goes, you know, there's a dozen of those out there now based off of his video. So, and based on that, actually, I'm going to share with you, I have a notepad here with my ideas of media, and one of mine is to do the Tristan challenge, and it's to see how many holes I can play in 30 shots or in 30 shots.
Nice.
So we're going to work on that video. That's kind of off of you. But if you haven't seen it, and anybody who's listening hasn't seen it, check it out. But especially if you love YouTube. I mean, Simon's awesome alone, but from like me and you as an example, there's a lot of really cool information there. It's probably, I've known Smashbox and Terry and Johnny V for years personally. They're both from the same part of Wisconsin that I'm originally from. And that just, I watched every minute of that, including even the after show with Yuli and stuff like that. I was so just engaged into it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite video that you've done? And I'm going to, two-part question. One that you've done, not ones that you've been in.
Okay. So, gosh, the favorite one that I've done, my favorite, it didn't do very well at first, but it started doing really well recently, actually. But it was a Goodwill challenge.
I saw that.
And it was really unfortunate because my computer at the time just really was not having it, and it would not let it render in a very good quality. So it's in a pretty bad quality on YouTube. So I'm definitely going to be doing another couple of those in the future. But that one was just hilarious. I mean, I played with a dog bowl and a plate for 6 holes or something like that, and it was so fun.
So it's funny when I watched that video not very long ago, just maybe even a couple days ago, so maybe a week ago. So I might have been one of those ones that helped you rise more recently. But I was out that same day, and my neighbor, it was in the yard, playing catch with a pot lid.
Oh, really?
And of course, I have discs, and I walked over there and took them one of them, because literally they're playing catch with this lid with the handle and everything, and I'm thinking like,
yeah,
that's not good. I mean, they also use my disc golf basket in the backyard, and they play soccer, and they kick the soccer ball into the basket.
Oh, wow.
So nice. Like, the basket's there. I was like, just as well get them the right equipment. But it was funny, that correlation between watching your $5 your Goodwill show, and one of the guys who were on your show, that's what he was looking at there at Goodwill, was that for a putter.
Yeah.
Was that? So I just thought that was pretty funny. Keith on the board is asking if you have ambitions. Well, I'm paraphrasing his words, I guess, are, Tristan, are you trying to take down Simon Lizotte? He's fans of both of you. Do you kind of, and I'm going to kind of add on to that a little bit, but do you use Simon or other YouTubers as inspiration for what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, definitely inspiration. I think anyone who's been doing it longer than me has more experience. I mean, Brody, Simon, Eagles vlogs too. All I've taken inspiration from for sure. But I mean, I'm definitely not trying to knock anybody off the game or try to better anybody necessarily. I think we're all going to grow together, and I think, like as the saying goes, like the rising tide raises all the ships, or something like that. And so I'm definitely not trying to like whatever take any views away from any of them, but definitely maybe some collaborations in the future, and I've definitely taken a lot of inspiration from those people.
So now this question, I might even have more questions we'll see pop up, I'm actually taking from the Smashbox interview, so if you watch it you might see that correlation. But yep. What do you do? How do you come up with your ideas? I mean, what's your kind of your thinking between, I know you said you have a list, so I mean, how do you come up with them?
I mean, I don't really know, honestly. It's just stuff that I'm just a creative person. I have some suggestions from people or get in the comment sections of my videos, but I mean, I have a list of probably 35 to 40 videos on my list right now, and I mean, that list just keeps on growing. I don't think I'll ever be able to catch up and use all of those ideas, hopefully, but I have plenty of options, and they just keep on coming to me, honestly.
Okay. Well, just totally blanked out what I was going to say.
That's fine.
So tell the fans that are watching, the ones that you know you're committed to, what are maybe some of the next upcoming videos that you're looking at doing that the fans on the board can look for in the next week or 2 weeks?
Yeah, so I actually have one coming out tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how long it takes to upload. But it's a mini like an indoor mini disc round that I did with my brothers just around my house. And then I have a video I filmed with Logan Harpool, a 3-disc challenge that with him that'll be coming out soon. And then I don't have a set time frame on a lot of them, but definitely in the future I'm coming out with a couple, like a forehand form video and a backhand form video. I've gotten so many requests to do both of those. And then I have my own challenge, not quite like Simon's, but something like that I'm going to challenge a whole bunch of people to do during this time that I think is just out in the field that a lot of people will be able to do. And that one should be coming over the weekend or early next week. And then I will also be filming the stepping back 10 feet every time you make it that Simon challenged everyone to. That's another one that'll be coming out in probably the next week.
Okay. A couple people are asking on the board, or they're not necessarily asking, but they're commenting at least, as far as the challenge that some of them have been doing without the chains, with just the bottom piece of the basket and the pole. Have you tried that? Or have you seen those videos?
I have seen the videos. I have not tried it yet. It's snowing right now in Colorado. So, yeah, I haven't got to try that yet. But, yeah, I'll probably be posting something like that. That'll probably stay on my Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. So, now one of the questions I've been excited about, and again, I've been watching your videos, everybody, but the one that I probably was most excited to see was the Brody Smith video. So I'm curious to know, how did that, I mean, I know he talks about it a little bit in the beginning, but from your side, I mean, how did that come about for you to get to be in that video, or just to be there that day?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's really crazy, honestly. I've been watching Brody's videos for 12 years. I mean, since the beginning, from when he was just doing like those random Ultimate Frisbee trick shot videos. So, really crazy experience for me, but I met him at Memorial, I guess, and then I happened to hang out with him and some of the other Discraft crew to play a couple practice rounds while we were in Waco. And then, yeah, I followed him and was right next to him when he was playing his first round at Waco. And, yeah, and then once Waco got canceled for the final round, I just happened to be heading up to Emporia, and I was driving through Dallas, and I hit him up just to say I was in town and if he wanted to do anything, because he had mentioned filming a video while we were in Waco. And then it just happened to work out that we all had the time, and yeah, it was a super cool experience from a fan who's watched him for a long time, and yeah, it was just really cool to be part of it.
So how nervous were you going there to play with him?
I wasn't really nervous at all. I mean, I think he's just another human being, okay, just pursuing what he's driven to do, and I try not to look at people any differently that way. I think a lot of people kind of get that like starstruck, and then they end up not necessarily acting like themselves. And I just try to be me and enjoy the experience. So
was it awkward as far as, I mean, the three of them were throwing the Discraft starter, and you obviously, with being sponsored with Latitude 64, didn't have that. I mean, was that something like, this is what we're going to do, and you're kind of like, yeah, I can't do that?
Yeah, so, I mean, originally he had, like, that was his plan, was not, like, he asked me if I would throw the Discraft disc, and I was like, no, I can't do that. And he said that part of whatever his contract and everything is that he wants to be able to make videos with everyone. He made a video with Big Germ, who's with Innova, obviously, and then I was on the channel with Latitude, and I think it's really cool for him to have such a huge following to make that conscious decision of wanting to grow the sport and not just closing off all the other brands. So it was really cool that he was super open when I said that, hey, I'm not able to throw those discs because of my sponsor. He was like, oh yeah, totally, you can grab your own discs and still do the challenge with us. So,
well, it's pretty neat during the round when you threw the Explorer, and you probably saw the videos later on with Yuli's reaction of that disc. Yeah, it's pretty priceless.
yeah, Yuli's hilarious, and yeah, that was one of the better reactions I've seen for sure.
Yep, I've known Yuli for quite a few years. I mean, back when he was with DD, before DD was a manufacturer. From those, Yuli actually did my commentary in 2018 USDGC. I was on the feature card with Nate Sexton, Calvin Heimberg, and Nathan Queen, and him and AJ did my commentary, and it was interesting listening because even some of his comments were personal. So yeah, both of them. I mean, all those guys are great. I've known all of those that are in the video for quite a few years. It's pretty neat to see where they're at now, but it was really exciting, like I said, to see you on there, and like I said, kind of, I don't know, you stood out, but it was awesome. So
yeah,
you had kind of do you have any other collaborations in the works?
Not anything official. I mean, we've obviously talked about like loosely, like when the tour starts back up, we'll probably do a couple other videos, maybe like some sort of like forehand tips video or something like that, but nothing official. But I think definitely something like that will come once we're back in the same area for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm going to backtrack here just because someone else was asking a question about touring a little bit, and I'm going to ask his question and paraphrase anyways. But his question is, what kind of food do you enjoy eating when you're home or on the road? And then I'm going to kind of match with that because, well, I mean, in this off season, I've really had to readjust my eating a lot because I needed to lose weight. And even like that, 16 days, 18 days I'm in Arizona, eating is not easy on the road. I mean, so one, to answer Xander's question is, I don't know, what kind of foods do you like to eat? And then my question is, how do you manage that on the road?
Yeah, so I think I have it a lot easier than most people do, actually, because I have a running fridge that's on constantly. So I'm able to have refrigerated foods, but I eat a lot of fruits and berries and stuff. I really enjoy those. I eat a banana and an orange and then raspberries pretty much every single day. And then I always try to eat one full vegan meal a day, normally in the morning. It just helps my body feel good. I normally go to like a coconut milk yogurt along with some granola and strawberries, and then a little like super seed mix with flax, chia, and hemp seeds. It's just something that helps me feel good to start my day, and yeah, that's probably the biggest part of my routine is that breakfast.
Okay. Then when you're not worried about the routine, what's just your favorite food?
That's probably my favorite food,
Okay.
honestly.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant that I go to a lot? That's a tough one. I don't really have like a real favorite. I mean, I'll go to like In-N-Out or something when we're on the West Coast, just because we don't have it in Colorado, and yeah,
Right.
something like that.
And I don't know if you've been in a tour long enough, but it was actually leading to another question, and I've even learned this as I've traveled, is do you have, I mean, you eat a lot in your van, but do you have places like an In-N-Out that you travel, or you go to a city that's kind of got that barbecue joint or that mom and pop shop that you just look forward to that event so you can go to that restaurant? Or I don't know if you drink at all, breweries or bar food, that stuff. So
Yeah. So I don't drink at all. I mean, I just turned 21, like right before I got here, actually. But yeah, I definitely have found those, and I hope to find more on the road this year when it starts back up. But yeah, I mean, my favorite one is in Arizona. Actually, it's it's called Green New American Vegetarian, but it's a vegan food place that just has these delicious burritos that I eat like every single day of the week of Memorial, from Monday to Sunday or whatever. So
yeah, when I was dieting though, I think almost every day while I was in Vegas, I mean, I took a crock pot with me, but when I went out to eat, I felt like I ate at Duke's, just eating turkey burgers, and I don't like vegetables, so I can't do vegetarian stuff, but yeah, just finding stuff to eat. All right, so the Primo, that's the name on the board. He's asking how many aces do you have?
Over 25 and less than 35. Somewhere in there. I don't know an exact number, but it's somewhere in that range.
Okay. And do any of them have a story? Like, what's the strangest one? Have you gotten one where it's like skipped off a tree, or
Yeah, I definitely. So it was at a course in Boulder, and it's this like 360-foot hole, 370-foot hole. And one of my friends joked around like, "Oh, I bet you won't throw a roller to this basket." And so I threw this like big old sky roller, and it bounced twice and then went in the basket. And it was just so surprising. I was like, "What just happened?" But yeah, that was the most unusual one for sure.
Emacs on the board saying he's enjoyed shooting a couples videos with you. So, did you guys do more than just the blindfold one?
No, so we just had the one for each of our channels. The LucidX Emacs Truth video for my channel.
That's right.
That a lot of people really enjoyed. That was a super fun one to film. And then the blindfolded one for his for his channel. But I mean, we'll definitely have more collaborations in the future for sure.
Yeah, even as I'm doing more, Eric, if you're listening, I'm gonna have to figure out something with you. Eric's actually my guest here on Tuesday night, so
Nice.
Be interesting get him on here. But yeah, the collaboration that I've watched both those videos. Like I said, really like the blindfold one. Even some of those shots you would have never thought you'd miss. And then sometimes, I mean, your whole one. I mean, spoiler alert if you guys haven't watched it, but yeah, just the whole one. I would have bet almost any kind of money, even as it was going towards the basket, that it wouldn't have gone in. But
that one surprised me. I'm still shocked that even went in because I threw the bite, I thought it was already gone. Like I thought it was past the basket, so I turned around, started to lift my blindfold at EMAC, and then I heard it hit chains. I was like, no way that was my disc because it like took way too long in my head. But yeah, that was crazy.
You ought to do a special Tristan run of the bite. I mean, we got already people on the board talking about how it's changed or they've added it to the bag and you liked it. I think of like Kevin Gleason. I mean, he's a pro MPO and MP40 player, and he throws the Ruby. And I've seen a lot of people who've changed or started throwing that. That might be a good one for you to do, especially in this off season 2.0. As you're looking for your discs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing like a custom run stamp of bites or maybe figuring out like I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Latitude too much about this or anything, but possibly like a new plastic that the bite hasn't came out in yet, like maybe a moonshine or something like that would be super cool. But yeah, definitely I'll work on that for sure.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like we have any other questions, so I think we're going to wind down. I've had you on for right at an hour. So, but before I let you go, Tristan, kind of let all the fans know, I mean, how can they find you? Someone's requesting the Sparkle Bite. Oh, no, the Sparkle Bite. They like an idea of a moonshine Sparkle Bite. Hey. How can your fans find you and support you?
Yeah, so you can find me as Tristan Tanner DiscGolf on Facebook or on YouTube, and then if you search at Tristan Tanner DiscGolf, you'll find my athlete page on Facebook as well, and then it's Tristan_Tanner13 on Instagram, and then definitely keep your eye out for any. I might have a couple fundraiser discs coming out later in the year. I'm currently sold out of the ones I had, but definitely keep an eye out for those.
Okay. Well, it was great having you on the show. Those that are watching, all those links that he just talked about for social media will be down in the description. For those that are watching live, that description is not available, but the description will be there after this archives when we're done. But thanks for coming to the show. I appreciate you being here and spending the hour with us in preparation. Hopefully we can get you on again. Anything else you want to say before we part?
No, just thanks for having me on the show. Definitely looking forward to doing it again in the future.
Sounds great. So, all right, man, you have a good night. So we'll catch you later.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So we had Tristan Tanner. Thanks for being here. Like I said, I'm going to have the links to everything that he... to his show. One of the things that I'll kind of talk about, and I've seen a few other players that are out there, but you've seen more and more YouTube coverage coming out from a lot of these touring pros, Trilogy or not. And if you watch the show or you've seen, these players have the ability to monetize just by your subscribing. And of course the watching and things like that help with it and things like that. But in this time where we're in that off-season 2.0, subscribe to everybody. You don't really want to watch them all. You don't necessarily have to hit the notification, or just be a little more patient and ignore the ones that if you're not interested in. But even that subscription really helps to all those touring players just to build those numbers, because when they get those numbers, it helps with that monetization, and it helps them with that little extra few dollars. I mean, it's not a ton of money that any of them will make, but I mean, anything is better than nothing, and it also helps, I don't want to say motivates them or encourages them, but it probably does to get that out there. So, but we're going to wind down. So next week, we're going to have a special edition on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. The 2010 World Champion Eric McCabe is going to be on the show. So that's our special edition. And then on Thursday, I'm not 100% sure on the time just yet, but I'll post it. But we have a Minnesota tournament director, Jason Wilder. He's also the Zuka representative. And we're going to talk a little bit of tournaments, a little bit of Zuka, a little bit of amateur disc golf life a little bit. So make sure you check those. And then I'm continuously working on trying to get more and more of these interviews, just so we can, as the players are not doing a lot, and of course I have the free time as well, to get more of this information out there. So like always, what I just said is, like, share, but contribute. I love the comments. I love the interaction that we're getting out on the board. Thank you, Xander, Keith, Eric, Rocky, everybody. Those are just the names that I see right away on the chat board. Joshua, again, thanks for coming out. Until next time, keep sharing the Trilogy love with the world. See ya.